Hello and welcome to Team VLFI. In physical design, we have started a new series of sessions on various standard cells used in ASIC design. So please do like this video and subscribe our channel. Our channel is youtube.com/teamvlfi, or you can search Team VLSI directly on YouTube. We have divided this series in various sessions. First we have discussed the standard cell library, then we have discussed overview of standard cells, then we have started one by one the various cells. We have discussed the well-tapped cells and end-cap cells. Today we are going to discuss the decap cells, then we will discuss the spare cells, tie cells, sequential cells, combinational cells, clock cells, level shifter cells, filler cells, issue cells and antenna cell. This is the plan of this series, and we have discussed up to end cap cells. Today we will discuss about the decap cell. So let's begin. Why decap cells is required in the ASIC design, or we can say that what is the use of decap cells in our ASIC design. So I would like to start the discussion with a situation here, that consider a situation where large number of standard cells switching together in a particular region of chip at one edge of clock. So this is our CMOS structure, where the PMOS is connected to NMOS, and the source of PMOS is connected to VDD, and source of NMOS is connected to ground, and drain of both PMOS and NMOS is connected to together. And this is these gates are connected together, and it acts as an input terminal. So consider a signal, input signal is coming to like this. It is rising from 0 to 1. So the moment when the signal is 0, our NMOS is in off state and PMOS is in on state, and the moment when the signal finally reach to 1, our PMOS will be off and NMOS will be on. But in between there will be a situation where when the voltage level of this input signal is just above the threshold voltage of this NMOS transistor and below this threshold voltage of this PMOS transistor, in that moment both these transistors will be on. What will happen when both the transistors is on? Definitely there will be a path between the VDD and ground, and if a path is created between the VDD and ground, a large current will flow. So that current we call a short circuit current, ISC. And from where this current will come? Definitely this current will come from the your VDD rail in which this CMOS is connected. So due to these simultaneous switching of standard cells, a large short circuit current will required from power network. This is your VDD rail and this is your ground rail. In between, consider there are lots of inverters fitting in between, and they are connected in series. The requirement of current will come from this VDD rail in this way. So to supply the large current spike, power network may face voltage drop or ground bounce or IR drop issue, as we have discussed this in IR session. When this VDD rail is overloaded with such a heavy short circuit current, your VDD level of your VDD voltage may drop, or the level of your ground voltage may raise. Such type of drop and raise is called voltage drop and ground bounce. We have discussed this in IR drop sessions. So these issues may lead further many issues like changing delay of standard cells or many other issues. definitely if your VDD is going to decrease, your delay of standard cells will increase, and if it further decreases, then there may be many other issues also. So as a solution of this issue, we need to boost the power network. So how can we boost this power network? So situation is that this cells is supplied the current with VDD rail, and this VDD rail is taking the power from the VDD port, which is situated far away from this cell. So there is a large path between the VDD port to these extender cells, and our VDD rail is made of the metals, and metal is having definite the resistance, so there will be the IR drop, and definitely there are inductance too. So L into di by dt is also there. So inductance of these metals is also resist this sudden change in the current. So what can we do? Instead of taking the power from the VDD port, we can put some reservoirs of charge near these transistors. So we can add local charge reservoirs, which is basically we can build a capacitor, and so capacitor is a device which can store the charge in it, and when required it can supply it can supply the voltage to the required cells, and in this way we can our capacitor will be helpful to support the VDD, support our power network. So we can put capacitors near to our extender cells, power hungry extender cells, so it can support the power supply in this way. Okay, so decap cells actually acts as a capacitors or charge reservoirs and boost the power network against the voltage drop or ground bounce. So this problem could be eliminated using some capacitors adding near to the group of cells. Okay, so next, making of decap cells from the MOS transistor. So how can we make the decap cells, or we can say the how can we make the capacitors using our CMOS technology. So consider this is a NMOS, where this is your source, this is drain, this is body, this is gate, and this is the gate oxide in between them. So as we know that there are various capacitors forming between these terminals, as one of capacitor will be formed between the gate and the source, similarly the gate and drain, and one capacitor, in fact two capacitors lumped together, and we can say that a single capacitor in between the gate to body. In fact there are two capacitors here in series, we have lumped it together, and for the simplicity we can say here one single capacitor is in between gate to body terminal. So we have basically three capacitors in between gate and source, body, and drain. So there could be various ways to make the capacitor out of MOS transistors. One of the simplest structure could be short the source, drain, and body terminal together and make a single terminal. So poly terminal will act as a one terminal of the capacitor, and the shorted terminal will act as the other terminal of capacitors. I mean to say that if we we can see that all the one side of the capacitor is connected to gate, and the other side of the all three capacitors is connected to the source, body and drain. If we short all these together, then we will form a capacitor like this. Okay, so we can say that these three capacitors are in a parallel connection, and we can consider a large capacitors equivalent to these capacitors. Okay, so generally source, drain and body of NMOS we connect to the NMOS, we connect to ground rail, and poly to VDD rail. So poly we connect for the NMOS transistor, poly we connect to the VDD, and these shorted terminals, or directly we can say that all these three terminals, if we connect to the ground, then we can say that all these three terminals are shorted and connected to ground. In case of PMOS structure, drain and body connected to VDD and poly is connected to VFF. Okay, so now we will see the layout of decap standard cells. So our simplest layout of decap standard cell could be like this. Not that this is the layout of a older technology. In modern technology you will find much more complex decap cells, but for example and simplicity we can discuss this layout here. So you can see here that there is a PMOS here and there is a NMOS here. So first of all we will talk about the NMOS. You can see the poly of this NMOS, I mean gate, is connected to the VDD rail, and source and drain is together connected to VFS rail, as we discussed in the previous slide. And of course our substrate is connected to ground rail through our tap cells. So three terminals, that is source, drain and body, is connected to our VFF or ground rail, and poly is connected to our VDD rail, as we have discussed in the previous slide. And in case of our PMOS transistors, source and drain are connected to VDD, and its annual is connected to VDD also through the tap cells, and the gate of this PMOS transistor is connected to ground. So a pair of NMOS and PMOS transistors works as a capacitor and connected parallel to each other. So these two transistors are connected parallel. We can represent these two in schematic view as this. For the PMOS transistors, gate is connected to ground and its source and drain is connected to VDD. For NMOS transistor, poly is connected to gate is connected to VDD and source and drain is connected to VFS. But in modern technology, the structure of decap cells are more complex, not so simple. There are many cross-coupled capacitors forming there. So in modern technology, standard cells, the decap cells is structure is a bit complex, not so simple. So here is an example of cross-coupled decap cells, where you can see that the drain of PMOS transistor is connected to the gate of NMOS transistor, and the drain of NMOS transistor is connected to gate of the PMOS transistors, and source of the PMOS transistor is connected to VDD, and source of the NMOS transistor is connected to VFF, and combinedly this is forming a capacitors. And I have also seen some complex structure like that. There are two PMOS transistors in a cell, in a standard cell, and one NMOS transistor, and connection is like this. You can understand these things in details yourself, how these capacitor is connected, and what will be the equivalent capacitance. So I am not discussing much more details about this. You can analyze these things yourself. And for audience, I would like to ask a question here. Then we have discussed here various aspects of decap standard cells, and especially the advantage of decap cells, why we use decap cells in our ASIC design. I am asking to you, if you are interested, you can answer these questions in the comment section, that what are the disadvantages of decap cells. Definitely there are some disadvantages. You can answer your view in the comment section. What could be the disadvantage of using the decap cells. So with this I am moving to placement of decap cells. So decap cells are generally placed after power planning and before the standard cell placement, that is pre-place stage. So we can say that this is the pre-placed standard cells. Cells are placed uniformly all over the design. Initially we can fill the decap cells post-out stage 2. So one way we can place the decap cells initially in the pre-placement stage, and we can also add the decap cells after post-out to overcome the IR drop after analysis. So with this I am concluding this session here. Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe our channel. We will meet in next session with the next standard cells. Thank you for watching.